In 2023, 1 in 5 families in the U.S. included a single mother and children under the age of 18. But what was it like to be a single mom with a 6-year-old daughter back in 1946? Hi, I'm Sharon Landon, and welcome back to Old Asian Lady. My guest today is JoJene B Landon. She's my mom, and this is the first time that I've actually sat down with her to learn about her own life's journey and how she became the strong woman that I've always known. In 2019, she received the Lifetime Achievement Award from Marquis Who's Who as a leader in the field of special education. She shares the challenges growing up with my grandma Mary as a single mom and the choices that had to be made based on circumstances at the time. We talk about my adoption process, life in the military, and reasons why she ultimately chose a career as a special education educator.
I've never really, I know bits and pieces of your life, but I don't really know a lot of the things that happened before you and Dad adopted me. So I just wanted to get to know a little bit about your background.
My first recollection was my father in his uniform. So he was in World War II. So he was gone for I guess 3 years, and then he came back when I was 6. And so he and Mother divorced shortly after that. Mom and I moved back to Boise, Idaho, which is where we came from. And we at first we lived in one of my uncle's basements, and my grandmother was there too. Now this is my father's mother. And she was living in the basement too with us.
Oh.
And it.
What was that? Was that like depression during that?
No, it was.
World War II, yeah, that's after.
That's after.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, mother had to find some jobs, and she worked as a domestic. She was a housekeeper for several people, and she worked for them for quite a while. They got a chance to get a house, a small house. And when I say small, I mean really, really small. It was a one-room house with a sleeping porch. This means a screened-in porch.
Mm-hmm.
And we were sleeping on a screened-in porch in Idaho for about 3 years.
Okay, so when you're saying a sleeping porch, and it's actually made for sleeping right in the porch, on the porch. Is that why it's called a sleeping porch?
No, it's called a sleeping porch, I think, because you slept on it. I think probably most people would have stayed in the house. But grandmother slept in the house on a Davenport that folded out, and Mom and I slept on a regular-sized bed on this front porch. And I know the dimensions of the front porch because you could just barely get the bed in there.
So it was a screened-in porch. It wasn't closed in by windows or anything.
No.
So no protection from the outside except from the screen.
It had metal screen, and it had curtains. It had a curtain, so people couldn't look in, but other than that, there was no protection.
What was the feeling like at that time? Because, this is in the 40s or early 50s?
No, this is the 40s.
Oh, okay, in the 40s, for having a divorce or a single woman.
It was definitely not advantageous. The obvious thing was Mother had been a secretary, but her skills were she didn't keep her skills up, and so the only job she could get was cleaning other people's houses, and so we worked in that position for 3 years, from 1947 to 1950. And then in 1950, we moved into the big house that you saw was your grandma's house.
Yeah, that was a pretty big house from what I remember. So you lived in the
In a
one room house with a sleeping porch.
Right.
And Boise is not
The winter.
cold. Yeah, it's not warm in the winter, so
Right.
it's pretty cold. So you guys were there for 3 years, and that's when Grandma Mary was working for 3 years before she was.
Well, Grandma Mary continued to work as a domestic, but the reason that she got the loan to buy the house was one of the families that she worked for felt that were very pleased with her, and they felt that she should have some advantage and move on. So so she was able to get a mortgage on the big house, and it was one of the things that I had done was I worked for the same family, and
You were not that old.
I was 8 years old.
8 years old. Okay.
I was 8 years old, and the year I was 8 years old, I put $100 in the bank for my college, and the $100 was spent part of the money to buy the house. Mother lived in the house for 40 years.
So did her mother-in-law, ex-mother-in-law, move in with you guys too, or she stayed in the one?
No, she moved in with us and lived with us for quite a while. And then her sons got her a separate apartment. And Mother, at 50, decided that she had always wanted to be a nurse. So she decided that she couldn't be a nurse. Getting the education just was beyond her, but she decided that she would become a massage therapist. And so she went to school, became a massage therapist, and opened a business. So the main floor of the house was a business, and the upstairs floors we lived in. It had been a 2-apartment house, so we had a kitchen upstairs and everything. And the house had kind of an interesting history, but it was a nice big old sandstone house, and we maintained it as we could. I remember Mother and I putting new roofing on the roof.
I mean, was it dilapidated when you guys bought it?
It wasn't dilapidated, but it required maintenance.
Okay, so she got a really good deal on the mortgage. I mean, I don't know what the mortgage was during that time. How much did she buy that?
I had no idea which.
Wow.
They didn't tell kids things like that.
Yeah,
The old and dead.
That's true. I always forget that you're young at that time.
Remember how old I am. So anyway, we settled in the big house, and I made my way through grade school and high school, and so Mother sent me to nurses training because she always wanted to be a nurse. That was definitely not a match.
Yeah. For you didn't want to be a nurse.
Well, not really. And it's a good thing I didn't, because it turned out I wouldn't have been physically able. My back would. The family has a traditionally bad back. Grandmother had one. My brothers had their backs were now the brothers are half brothers.
Okay, so Grandma Mary got divorced from your dad, but then she had brothers?
He had 4 boys.
He had 4 boys.
When he divorced his first wife.
Okay.
And it was after that that Mom married Ray, and then she found out why he was divorced. And the fact that we got along better with his family than he did, it might be a clue to what went on. But anyway, I was too young to really be on top of things. But anyhow, I took 1 year of nurses training, thought I was going to lose my mind. And And I was really into social studies. I decided I'd like to teach social studies, and they were giving nice grants to people who were willing to sign up to teach. And so it didn't pay for everything. So I went over to the College of Idaho, which is close by, and I took a year there, and then I was flat out broke and couldn't go to college anymore. So I joined the Army.
Okay. So you went from wanting to study social studies,
Yes.
to teach, and you ran out of money. I mean, how much is college cost back then?
Well,
Get a degree.
it would be comparable. Mother, as a housekeeper, earned $1 an hour. Now, in this area here, housekeepers get $15 an hour. Now, so you can't compare. The college was the same way. The college wasn't nearly as much as it is now. I went into the Army, and of course, because I didn't like nursing, guess where they put me? I was a medical corpsman.
See, things have a way of doing that because
Yes, they do.
happening. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, I was a medical corpsman, and I did very well on my tests, and I was given the opportunity to go to the Defense Language Institute.
When you went into medical corps, you didn't tell them that you were not interested in nursing and they just stuck you there anyway?
It's not high on the list of interests of the military, what you want.
Okay.
So it's what they want. It's where they need people.
So they needed you in the medical corps, but why was that? Was there something happening during that time?
No, it's just maintaining the number that they need.
Okay. And so how long were you doing that?
Well, I joined the Army to see Texas, apparently, because I did basic training in Alabama, and then they sent me to Fort Sam Houston, which is a big medical center, and then they looked at my background and they said, you don't need any training. So they put me on casual, which is you're just doing whatever they want you, errand they want you to run.
What was it like to be in the military as a woman during that time? I mean, were there lots or not?
No, it was a minority, but they still needed, there were a lot of secretarial jobs and a lot of jobs like medical corpsmen that were done by women. It's not like now where women medical corpsmen go to war. We worked in big hospitals, and it, it was interesting to a point, but I found being in nursing very boring.
And what was boring about it?
It just wasn't a field I was interested in. What happened next was they sent me to Fort Sam Houston. Fort Sam Houston said I didn't need any training, but I was 21. And so older than a lot of the others. And so since they had me, they used me as a gopher, delivered papers and did stuff. And it was helpful in that I learned a lot about how the military worked. And I was there for about 3 months. Then I was transferred to El Paso, Texas. That was a very interesting place because the barracks were World War II barracks. And they got more, we're now talking 20 years 20 years after the war, right? And these are wooden barracks as well. Wood shrinks if you cook it in the sun enough. And so the dust would come through the walls. It was an exciting place to live. I was there for 18 months. And but then I took the test and somebody told me, well, you can get a 6 months college credit for taking this test, or for taken this course. And of course, the colleges like for you to have a foreign language. And so I said, well, what the heck? If I can spend 6 months taking a class, I'm getting paid for it. I'm not doing anything but taking a class. I thought, well, I just hit the jackpot. After I got there, I was singing in the chapel choir, and so was Jim.
Okay.
And so I met Jim, even though he was taking Chinese, and I was taking French, which, by the way, I'm not very good at.
Did you have a choice on the language that you wanted to take or not?
Well, I think they asked for a choice. I probably just took what they told me. I don't remember there being any argument about it. I would have chosen, French, German, Italian, basic European language, which also turned out that would have been a mistake too, because how long we spent in Asia. And
Yeah, so like you said you went to the language institute.
right,
That means you moved from El Paso,
right.
California then, and that's where you met Dad.
That's where I met your dad.
Okay. And so you said you met him through the choir.
On the bass choir.
Did you always like to sing?
Yeah,
when you
I
were
always
young?
sang.
Oh, really?
The
Even
choir.
when you were little?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I imagine I was in a choir almost all the time from the time I was 8. And a lot of the churches had children's choir, and the Baptist church there had one. So I imagine I probably sang in the choir. I don't remember exactly when I started, but I started going to that church about the same time as we moved into the little house.
Okay.
So it would have,
With the sleeping porch.
yeah, the one with the sleeping.
Yeah, okay. All right, so you met Dad in the choir, and then how long did you guys date?
Nothing, about 3 months.
3 months, and you guys got married?
Yes.
I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. I always thought that people nowadays just like people that are on dating apps and stuff, they meet each other, they don't know each other that long, and then they get in a relationship and get married. 3 months, okay. Was there a reason? You guys just decided to get married? He was getting deployed somewhere?
Well, the reason was because he was getting
Okay.
deployed.
Right.
And so,
You didn't want to do the thing where, you stay home and wait until he came
Well,
back.
he went to Taiwan, but I think I got pregnant on our wedding night. So, well, Tommy is exactly 9 months to that day. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
so and you couldn't stay in then. So as soon as I figured out I was pregnant, they kicked me out.
Oh, okay. So they kicked you out of the army, but then at that time, it wasn't planned that you were going to go with Dad to Taiwan.
Well, we were trying to figure out how to work it out. We didn't get that far. And so then I went to Boise, and of course, Tom was born in the same hospital I was born in.
Okay.
And then
Why did I think that he was born in Taiwan for some reason?
Jonathan was conceived in Taiwan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So he was born in Okinawa. After I had Tom, I stayed with Mom until I could get all the paperwork and go to Taiwan. And I went to Taiwan.
Was it a complicated process at the time for the...
No, it was just what you would do. Yeah, I got a passport. And he went to Taiwan, and then I followed about 3 months later.
3 months later. Okay, not that long. So was that when you met my mom at that time?
Yes.
Or it was a lot longer than that?
No, just your mother was very smart woman. And she figured out that working for Americans paid better than working for Taiwanese or for Chinese. When she got out, somebody else had left or something. She went down and made contacts at the hotel or at the hotel, and and I don't know if she bribed somebody or what, but they said, well, we'll call somebody, and she was called, and so she started working for us. She was very exceptional. She very smart. She realized that if you learned how to do things the way Americans do it, the Americans would like you better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of IEs in Shanghai that ruined a lot of my really nice clothes.
Yeah. She would do anything you ask her to do.
Yeah.
But she did it with class. But she quickly learned how you wanted something done and did it that way.
How'd you guys communicate?
She spoke enough English that I could understand her. And I learned some words that she used. First, the word for snake was snow. And so the day we had the big snake in the banjo, she comes running in, snow. And Jim says, snow? I said, it's a snake. She called snakes and lizards snow.
Snow.
And so and I started to go out, and she didn't want me to go out. Then I went out and looked, and we called the police on base, and they said, we don't do snakes. And we called the base downtown, and they said, we'll send somebody, and they sent the Foreign Affairs police out.
Was it that big?
It was very poisonous.
Oh.
And they sent somebody up from the snake market, and they came up and caught it.
Oh.
Took it away. Yeah, it was a woman and a kid, and the kid, they caught it with a fireplace tongue this long. I wouldn't have got that close to that snake for anything. And they stuck it in a burlap bag, so help me.
Yeah, I guess that's where a lot of places do. India, they always do that too. You always see them stick things in the bag.
Well, anyway, I thought it was interesting. Being used to rattlesnakes, which are pit vipers, you don't put them in burlap bags, because their fangs go right through that bag. They'll go through a pair of Levi's. You're much better off if you got Levi's on, but they can penetrate Levi's.
Okay, so
but when I looked at that snake, I said, "Oh no, we're not going to deal with that one."
Yeah. So, Tom was. Did Tom end up recognizing her as she was kind of like nanny and housekeeper, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she was marvelous with kids. I can't imagine why. But she was marvelous with Tom. And a lot of the time she brought JoJene with her. And then Tommy and JoJene would play. But Tommy was always as big as JoJene, and he was like a year and a half younger.
Yeah.
Tommy was huge.
Oh. Even as a baby? Like how big was he when he was born? Was he
10 pounds?
Oh my gosh.
And of course he had that very, very blonde hair. And the third day I was there, a Chinese woman who I'd never seen before in my life looked at him, screamed, "How by?" and grabbed him and took him to show him to her friend. And I'm thinking, you're going to get killed doing that. You know?
Oh my God.
Americans are a little touchy about that kind of thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, and she took him down. All the neighbors were there. They couldn't believe me.
Okay, so just to let the audience know, when somebody says "how by," it's just like how white.
Yes.
It's so white. Yeah, his hair. All right, so then my mom worked for you guys. I mean, was it the first time that you had a baby, but was the first time that you had a housekeeper nanny or something? I mean, was it something that was easy for you to get used to, or was it more pain than it is to?
I was I was the domestic servant in America.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So, no, I didn't have any problem with it. She was a sweetheart. She was always very careful when she instructed me, and I was doing something wrong, but she was always sweet.
Yeah, so during the time that you guys were there, how long were you based in Taiwan?
About 1 year, a little more than a year.
Oh, that's not very long, actually, when you think about it. So I remember me and Chuck going over to see the house.
You didn't go there very often, but it was real common for her to bring Jotun.
Okay, yeah.
And I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
And
We were probably going to school at that time.
then after we went to Okinawa, then we got word that she had passed away.
Yeah.
And then we had one of our Chinese friends corresponded for us. And because your dad was, he was way out of our league as far as correspondence, the levels of society.
Had you met him before?
Your dad? Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we had eaten at your house.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, but your mother she was such a hard worker, and she was always pleasant and sweet, and she knew every way on earth to. I swear she could squeeze a Chinese dime and get change, and she anything that was saleable, she sold. Dirty Paper Man came down the hill and bought cardboard and any hard paper. And so
Yeah, she had to make enough money to feed 7 kids.
yeah, right.
Dad got transferred to Okinawa. Was there a reason? I mean, it's like 1 year. Is that a normal?
Well, he'd been there for a while, but I don't know why it was such a short tour. I didn't get there immediately, so he probably was there 1.5 years, but I don't believe he was there 2. 2 would be the common thing. A lot of Americans don't like anything but America, but we enjoyed the Orient.
Well, it helps if Dad can speak Chinese, you know.
Yeah. Well, you realize my undergraduate degree is in Far Eastern history.
So I didn't know that.
Yeah, my undergraduate degree is in Far Eastern history. That was a very long time ago that I took that one. And took me 10 years, in fact, to get my bachelor's degree.
Didn't Dad go to Okinawa because of some incident? Or was that after that?
That was while we were on Okinawa. That was the what was the name? The name of the ship was the Pueblo, and the North Koreans captured it. We could hear the B-52s taking off every 5 minutes off the airport. It was the middle of the night, and we heard the planes going, and we're up by the time it's time to get up. It's saying something's going on. And we were right under the flight line director, so it rattled all the china in the closet.
Yeah.
Those big giant planes. The base commander ordered the planes head for Korea, and he was called back. But he would have been in there in time to bomb that ship out of the water before they got it to the shore.
So what did he do?
What?
Dad, what did he do?
What did your dad do?
We weren't ever supposed to be talking about it.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Your dad was what they call a spook.
Okay.
And the spooks, they listen to what's going on in the signals in the air. But then they would pick up the Chinese and record it.
Okay.
And then it would be sent someplace else to be translated.
Okay.
And so probably if there was something that was really important, probably in 15 minutes, Washington could have a translation.
Oh, wow.
So, but that's what he did. It was he listened to but it's not really spying because it's out there in the air. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's But he listened,
Right.
and that's what he did, and he was pretty fluent in Chinese. Didn't write it that well. Always created Chinese people don't write left-handed, by the way, apparently. And he could get a crowd just standing there and writing left-handed, because he would write, he'd write the characters for something down, and people would stop to see him, to watch him write in Chinese with his left hand.
Well, might be because he was a big old American.
He's the biggest guy that you ever saw.
So that was double whammy that he would, write Chinese, write with left hand, or triple tramp.
The triple
whammy.
Right.
I had always thought that you guys were still in Taiwan, and my mom was working for you guys when she passed, but that wasn't the case. You guys had already moved.
And she was working for a friend of ours.
And they're the ones that contacted you.
They're the ones who contacted us.
So here we got, John and I were both adopted by you guys.
Right.
And that was a complicated...
that was real fun, because actually when the Pueblo happened was exactly when you were being adopted. And we had a certain amount of stuff had been done. And this is when we learned Tom spoke better Chinese than I did. I'd get the taxi cab and tell the guy to take us, and then Tom would say it in Chinese, and they'd say, "Oh," and they'd go.
He would be only like 1 year old, a little over.
Oh, he was close to 2. But those two could talk the leg off a chair.
Yeah.
If I taught,
kids pick up languages really quickly.
Yeah, especially if their dad is a linguist,
Yeah.
Both Tom and John are good at language. Jonathan is, he still studies his language. And, but we had about half of the stuff done. And Jim told one about he goes in to get the guy to fill out some papers. And this Chinese guy, which was probably half his size, is trying to fish for a bribe. And so
during the adoption process.
In the adoption process, yeah. And Jim starts moving closer and closer to him. The guy decides to give that up as a bad idea. It just fills out the paperwork. Jim said, "I know he was trying to get me to give him a bribe."
Yeah. I remember that when we were adopted, the first place we went was to Okinawa. That was the first thing I remember. But
that's where we were when we got your papers to go into the United States. You got your citizenship later when we were back at the language school.
Right.
But it was Okinawa was where you got your basic papers to go.
So how long were you guys based in Okinawa?
Okinawa was 2.5 years.
2.5 years, yeah. Because I think I went to language school, or I had to learn English.
Yeah, you went to a missionary. Yeah, you went to a missionary school.
Yeah. I kind of, I remember Okinawa. My most fondest memories is digging in that sand.
Yes, I know.
4th of July for money.
Yeah, that was great.
But, fireworks and stuff. I remember it being kind of fun. But what was it like all of a sudden, though, having two extra kids? Because, Jonathan was born at the time.
Yeah,
too. Yeah, and Tom was how old at that time?
Well, Tom was just a little more than 2. And John was a little baby. He wasn't tiny baby, but he was, he was... Come to think, he never was tiny either. He was 9.5 pounds when he was born.
But this decision to adopt 2 kids, when you have 2 babies of your own, was there a discussion going on? It's not a simple decision, right?
we just adored your mother. And we were afraid. Number one, the family at this point didn't have much income because she was the main provider, and we were afraid that you and Tong and John would not wouldn't have the opportunities. And so we promised your dad that we would provide for you an American college education. And of course they didn't want Tung to go, but that made
You tried to adopt 3?
Yeah, well, we tried to adopt Tung also, but he was so close to your oldest sister's kid in age that it it made sense for him to stay. But I think everybody in your family they were tight money wise, and my concern was that and your father actually expressed it that if he was old, he expressed that if he died, the relatives would probably take you in, but you'd probably be servants more than, and that was typical. And so I'm assuming that's true.
We didn't have any relatives in Taiwan.
Well,
Knowing my sister, my sisters and my brothers, and I guess my oldest sister was married at the time to a Taiwanese policeman. He was a really good man that time. Yeah, so who knows? Because we didn't have any contact with
anybody else. Yeah, well.
Yeah. So
anyway, that was his concern. He didn't want you guys to become servants or domestics. So and we were perfectly happy to. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. I got a girl. Here I had the 2 boys, and I wanted a girl. And I got a girl, and the girl who was the oldest of the group helped me all the time with the boys, and she knew about as much about taking care of boys as I did because she was from this gigantic family. And your sisters always had a place in what you guys were doing. When I would go to your house, your sister would have one of the boys sitting on her lap, and they'd be counting, or they'd be doing something. It was, they were always doing something with the others, and you would help me with the boys, and you had really good sense about things. A lot of 7-year-olds are really flighty, but you knew what you were doing, and if you didn't know, you watched and figured it out really fast. And so and then I got icing on my cake because you were a really pretty little girl, and I don't know what you thought when you got me, but I definitely wasn't Beaver Cleaver's mother. And so anyway, but you were such a jewel because you were you guys were really good until you got into high school. Then you all got mouthy, just like the other kids. But you were quite a find, and John too. John was always very empathetic. He always, if one of the other kids didn't feel good, he always knew it. And one night he'd been sick during the night, and when I talked to him, I said, "Well, why didn't you wake me up?" And he says, "Well, you need your sleep too." And
he couldn't like that,
But he's still, of course, he is still like that. And he was no more than 8 when that happened. So, but I felt that I hit the jackpot with you and John. I mean,
I always feel that people's lives happened in certain ways, and it was just John and my luck to be adopted. Because I remember when I went back to visit, the first time I visited them after, I think it was 14 years in Taiwan, and they always were thinking, oh, did they do the right thing, or did they to let us be adopted and stuff like that. And me and John were telling them, of course, you know, I mean, we were so lucky that we were able to have had, you know, growing up in the States, and we went to Japan and different parts of the States. And so it wasn't anything that they should feel bad about, because I know my father was also feeling that when they would ask us, you know, it's kind of translated. But anyway, yeah, so you were enough of adopted. No, we're part of the family now. But you were talking a little ways back about your education, because I was wondering about that. You said 58, you graduated your
From high school.
Yeah, from high school, and then you were in 68 when you got your bachelor's degree, and that was in.
Where I got
That was in what?
My bachelor's degree is University of Maryland, Tokyo.
Tokyo, okay.
Because we were in Japan when I.
Oh yeah, because we moved to.
You remember Grandma Mary came to.
Yeah, she came to visit.
That's why she came, was to see me get my bachelor's degree.
Oh, I kind of remember
That was the first time anybody on her side of the family had college, had completed college.
Oh, wow. So wait, I don't remember, because you did it on the base, or you did it on. Oh, couldn't have been online. Way back then, they didn't do it online, but they had classes on base.
Wow. Where were we? Well, yeah, the classes are on base.
Okay.
They provide them for military people.
All right.
But I was trying to think what all is going on around that. But anyway, yes, yeah. That's why your Grandma Mary came.
Okay. Because I went to 4th, 5th, and 6th grade in Japan. So the degree you got was?
Bachelor's degree in Far Eastern history on American government.
Oh, that's interesting. So was that something you had chosen because you were based abroad?
Because I like social studies.
Yeah.
I was always interested in especially China, because my father had been in China and India and Siam during World War II.
Did you get it paid for by the government at that time?
No.
A slight bill or something?
No. A little bit of that bill was paid for by the government. The original thought was that if you were a woman and you had a husband who worked and 3 kids, you didn't have any dependents. And if you were a man and you had a wife who worked and 3 kids, you had 4 dependents. Needless to say, somebody sued the government for that. So my GI Bill had run out. And then they went back 10 years and authorized all those people who'd run out of time they extended it. So the last part of my bachelor's degree was paid for but I had 2 years to start with, and then I finished 2 years mostly at night school.
Grandma Mary came to Japan and attended your ceremony.
She and I went to Taiwan too, and she got to see what Taiwan was like.
Okay.
And we went down to the market, and I had this big argument with this lady over the price of a brush, and I mean, we were just bickering, and Mother said, "How much did that cost?" And it was something like $1. And she said, "Well, how much did they want to charge you?" And I told her. She says, "You did all that for that little bit of money?" I said, "Yeah, I got to do that, or they're going to say stupid American."
Oh, wait, so you guys went back to
Oh, well,
Taiwan, but
just Mom and I just went down to.
oh, yeah, what happened to us when you were?
Well, Jim was home.
Oh, okay. And then we had Fuji, I think.
Yeah, you had Fuji when you were at home. You were in Japan, but anyway, that was the one of the funny things that happened. My mother was just mystified. She had never been west or east of the Mississippi, and when she came to visit us in Maryland, she couldn't believe. She thought it was wall to wall cities. She couldn't believe how much farmland and beautiful country there is in that part of
Maryland. Oh.
Yeah, she had never been in. She'd virtually never been anywhere.
Living in Japan, we had Fuji, but then Dad got transferred back to California,
Yeah.
which meant you had, 4 kids, no maid. But did you get a degree in California too, or no?
Oh, well, let's see. The next degree I got in Maryland.
Okay, so
That was Bowie State, and and I got another one there too. I got a master's degree in education, but it's all special education,
Right.
handicapped kids.
Yeah.
And what generated that was Tom, it seems, was hyperactive with attention deficit disorder, as is Jonathan. And the school couldn't quite figure out what to do with them. So what is a mother to do except get a master's degree so they can figure out, so you can tell people how to handle the kids. So I got a master's degree in special ed.
That was the reason?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other reason was, in order to get a job, you had to have a master's degree. But that was no choice. There was no problem with that one. Once I started trying to deal with Tom's problems, and then Jonathan had even more problems. Although Jonathan didn't get as much treatment as Tom did.
Okay, so I was just thinking that when you were getting your master's degree, because you actually got more than one master's degree.
Yeah, I'm good.
Your first master's degree was in special education. Then the next one was
Reading and reading disabilities.
okay. So still dealing with special ed type of thing,
Right. This is Johns Hopkins University.
Right.
And they're the ones that verified that I was dyslexic.
Yeah, that's what I was
the
going to
joke,
ask.
yeah.
Because when you were, going through all that school and you always had dyslexia, when did you find out that you had dyslexia?
Well, it was verified
In Maryland.
in Maryland, Johns Hopkins.
So you were already...
I had 2 master's degrees.
Yeah. But at that age, you were 40-something?
Oh, yeah.
Something like that till you... and it wasn't because you didn't know that you had it? Or
No, I knew that reading was incredibly hard for me.
Going through the universities and getting your degrees, you just spent more time than everybody
Yes.
else? Or sometimes if you did something, it was better?
Oh, yes.
So, what did you do to test?
Well, for one thing, I'm much better at projects than I am at reading and writing. Almost anybody very few people who are dyslexic are good writers.
Okay, so can you explain dyslexia for people that might not know?
Dyslexia is not really explainable because what you're explaining is the symptoms. And there is a cluster of symptoms. I don't remember. I don't have the new manual, so I don't know what the current number is. But I have a hyperactive form of attention deficit disorder, which is probably more debilitating than the reading. And then I'm pretty severe dyslexic. Jonathan will tell you I'll read something and read a completely wrong word. Now I can if the word has the decency, in English this is not necessarily true, if it has the decency to be pronounced phonetically, I can spell it. But English doesn't really adhere to its own rules.
Yeah.
About 80% adhere to the rules, but they're not the words you use a lot. And the words that you use a lot, they're like rocks, pebbles in a stream. When they fall off the side of the mountain, they're in sort of a crystalline form, and they got edges and they got points. And as they roll down the hill and they get in the water, and the water washes away and it rolls it down on the other rocks and blunt. And eventually, if you get these nice little round pebbles that started out as a different shape. Well, that's what words are like. And the words that you use the most are the least likely to be truly phonetic.
You know what's interesting is that sometimes you see these little things that people put out where they have words, sentences and stuff all together, but there's a lot of letters missing. And actually the brain, you can read it without those missing letters, but you can still read it. But were you able to do that with dyslexia?
I do very well at putting the context together. If I can get the gist of what's happening. But I read very slowly. So if I read out loud, it's just painful to listen to me. And when I was in high school, when I was in elementary school, my grades were extremely poor. The basic skills are, they're based on phonics, which is kind of marginal in English. The lower your grade, the more non-phonetic words you run into because of the usage issue. And the attention deficit, I couldn't make it to a whole page of, I could do the first 5 problems correctly. And then someplace my brain went. So I would not have I would not be able, I was always slow. I'm never able to finish things. Never did a spelling test after about the 3rd or 4th grade, but what I ended up crying. And everybody's saying, but she's such a smart little thing. But my grades were terrible. And then as I got into junior high school, they started saying things about, oh, well, she thinks she does, they put me in all remedial classes. Okay, so the history class, I was a whiz. And I understood history in the 7th grade just fine. And they put me into algebra, and algebra was easy because it was a mathematical puzzle. And I could do that. It actually interested me. I didn't just get bored out because I was doing enough problems to keep us busy for half an hour or whatever the teacher wanted us to work. And but the basic skills I still can't do, right? I still very poor reading and non-existent spelling by this time. And so then they started to wonder about me, but there really was no program for anybody like me. I mean, they had no clue.
Yeah.